Hello everyone, it's Nicole. Ever wondered how women's rights have come this far? Yes, the rights that makes us feel empowered, confident, and acknowledged. It went through a lengthy process and took years until they were established. That is why it's divided into four waves. Let's talk about the four waves of feminism and discover how each wave influenced media and shaped gender representation over time. The first wave occurred during 1848 to 1920. This movement was focused on securing women's right to vote and legal recognition, which took nearly a century-long campaign. During this wave, the Declaration of Sentiments signed by both women and men participants was approved at the Seneca Falls Convention, turning it into a constitutional law known as the 19th Amendment. This affirmed that women were equal to men, and voting rights for women became the pioneer objective of the early feminist movement to achieve the right to property, organizational leadership, and women's education. In addition, social movements such as abolitionism and temperance served as a catalyst for this wave. The temperance movement campaigned for the ban on alcohol because women were lacked of legal protection. Activists used songs and other media to highlight the alcohol abuse by men often led to domestic violence. Meanwhile, the abolitionism movement initiated the complete eradication of slavery that made women of color achieve political platform. This angered some white feminists because black men were granted suffrage first. The joint struggle between white and non-white feminists were inseparable, arguing that both movements demanded equality. However, as time passed by, the mainstream was led by white women, resulting to overlook women of color and further excluded them from participating in white organizations as they suffer from factors of racism, classism, and sexism, which is why the 94 names of black women were not listed as signers in the Declaration of Sentiments. In my opinion, the film Suffragette perfectly reflects the first wave of feminism by highlighting the primary goal of the movement, which is to secure voting rights for women despite facing discrimination and violence. Subsequently, the second wave of feminism took place after the attainment of the 19th Amendment. This wave's goal is to address systemic and domestic inequalities experienced by women. It was entrenched by the civil rights movement, and activists called for a re-evaluation of gender roles. Betty Friedan, who was once a journalist before becoming a housewife, launched a book titled The Feminine Mystique. It explored the dissatisfaction of housewives and mothers with the limited roles which serve as the impetus of this wave. The activists were strongly campaigning for workplace and reproductive rights, equal pay, and gender roles. In 1963, the Equal Pay Act was passed, in which women and men have equal benefits in terms of pay and workplace rights. Moreover, the 1973 Roe v. Wade legalized abortion in the US. Although this movement championed its objective, it did not escape from the criticisms for centering privileged white women, leading to the genesis of National Black Feminist Organization. I believe it is worth noting that the advertisement of Pantin's labels against women represents women as capable leaders who are unfairly judged because of the gender stereotypes. By exposing these biases, it supports the second wave's fight for workplace equality while rejecting traditional gender roles. Transitioning to the third wave, its focus was toward individual expression, diversity, and a wide understanding of identity. As we observed, the first two waves are inclusive to white women, but this movement pursued to include the voices of women of color, LGBTQ+, and marginalized sectors. The driving force of this wave was the hearing of Anita Hill that she testified about sexual harassment against Clarence Thomas. Furthermore, music groups such as Riot Grrrl used pop culture to challenge patriarchy, gender norms, and stereotypes. A movie named Legally Blonde perfectly illustrates how a woman challenges gender stereotypes that a fashion conscious woman cannot be a successful professional. In my opinion, people from different sectors must have a free will to choose their path to success without being judged by their appearance. As Elwood says,
What, like it's hard?
finally, the fourth wave of feminism which we are living and experiencing. Social media became a tool for activism, focusing on issues such as sexual harassment, online misogyny, and demanding systemic accountability. The advancement of technology allows everyone's voices to be heard on any social media platform. Just like TikTok influencers recently who strongly argue unrealistic beauty standards while promoting body positivity. The hashtag #MeToo movement flooded the world of the internet to hold influential men accountable for sexual misconduct. Just like the online news coverage of Ann Curtis speaking out against sexist remarks by a congressman shows how women can use their voices and digital platforms to challenge sexism and demand accountability. This reflects fourth wave feminism's emphasis on online activism and promoting gender equality. To wrap up, each wave of feminism contributed to how the media shaped gender representation today. In the first wave, the media illustrated women as activists, championing voting rights for women. In the second wave, the media portrayed women as people who challenged traditional gender roles. Following the third wave, which the media showed women can attain success while embracing their femininity. Meanwhile, in the fourth wave, media served as a platform for inclusivity across sectors.